Well, hello, hello. Please welcome back to Fitness with an Illness. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be talking about how I'm feeling 1 month post my stellate ganglion block procedure, which in my case is being used to treat my chronic fatigue syndrome. But before I get into that, if you enjoy this type of content, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing, as it really helps out the channel. Thank you so much. So, how am I feeling 1 month after my stellate ganglion block? Well, it's been a month. That's the best way I can say it. So I had my procedure 1 month ago, and I guess to give you a general overview of the timeline, I would say the first couple days after the procedure were a little rough as your body is really trying to adjust to this sudden change in your nervous system, where basically the procedure just hits the brakes on your fight or flight response, and your body is trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So those first few days are pretty rough. In my experience, I kind of perked up a little bit after that. I'm going to break up my timeline into two main sections, and it's going to be the first 2 weeks after the procedure and then the second 2 weeks after the procedure. So the first 2 weeks in general, I would say, were better, and the second two have been harder. And I want to talk about why I think both of those are the case. So in the first 2 weeks, this is what I experienced. I experienced a up and down sensation. It really felt like I would have 2 days of feeling decent, and then 2 days of feeling kind of and then 2 days of feeling decent, and 2 more days of But it felt like there was this very consistent pattern, which, from what I understand, is basically a result of your nervous system trying to recalibrate itself. It's trying to establish the new baseline, and it's trying to figure out what is normal, and are we still stressed, or are we still safe? Are we in danger? Like, those are all the things it's trying to figure out. Now, at the end of that first 2 weeks, I had some of the best days that I've had in months. I think I had about 3, maybe even 4 days in a row where I was like, I feel pretty good. And I was doing stuff around the house. I was going for short walks, and just, I felt productive. I felt good. And it was really exciting. I was like, cool, maybe something's happening. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, it was Christmas time. Now, again, in case you're wondering about the timeline, I film my videos very far in advance. So I know this video is going to come out in February, but the day I'm filming it today is January 6th. So for me, 2 weeks ago, Christmas, had a good time with the family, but at the end of Christmas Day, everything really kind of started to catch up with me. And so I don't know if it was post-exertional malaise is what we typically call it in chronic fatigue syndrome, where you do a bunch of activities and then your body basically has a crash, and you usually end up in bed with more symptoms. So I don't know if that is what happened, which is very likely, or if at this point the nervous system was in a more intense recalibration stage. I'm not quite sure exactly. I say that because the last 2 weeks have been much more difficult, with, I would say, more bad days than good days. And even this last weekend, this last week, I spent about 3 or 4 days in bed. Some of the worst I've felt in months. And so I had this interesting just paradigm of some of my best days in a long time and some of my worst days in a long time very close together. And I don't know if that's normal, if that's part of the whole thing. The one thing I can say is that these last 2 weeks, even though I felt bad, it felt a little different than my normal stuff. It felt similar, but a little different. The best way I can describe it is that it felt like my body was just going back and forth between relaxed and on edge, relaxed and on edge. And I could feel it in my body, like just this tenseness would build up and then it would release. And then my hands would get warm and then they'd get freezing cold, and then warm and then freezing cold, which is a sign, the cold hands is a sign of a sympathetic nervous system activity, which is the fight or flight. And so to me, it seems like something is still going on. There's still some kind of recalibration that's trying to go on, and the body's trying to figure it out. From what I'm reading, that process can take about 6 to 8 weeks in order for the body to fully kind of recalibrate itself after the stellate ganglion block. That said, I am going to have my first follow up with my doctor in a couple days, and we will discuss what I've been feeling, and then I'll probably make a video after I've talked to him as well. But another thing I've been feeling the last 2 weeks it's felt like I've had all this like emotion that is just like ready to like explode out of me. There have been moments where like internally I've felt like super angry for no reason, and like times I've just wanted to like yell, and then I'm like, am I supposed to am I supposed to hold that in or let it out, or what? And then been a few times here and there even where my eyes got kind of watery, like just a tear or two would come out. And I'm not saying that in a way that I'm not ashamed of tears, and I'm not worried about tears coming out. If I'm being honest, with chronic fatigue syndrome, I've actually wanted to be able to cry for, I don't know, 2.5 years now. Because I feel like that would, like, I see so many things about how sometimes tears can be part of the healing process. And there's people in my chronic fatigue class who have said that they were unable to cry the entire time they were sick, and once they got better, then the tears came. It was like everything could finally release. And so I don't know what I'm feeling right now, but what I can say is that the last like week or two, it just feels like there's a bunch of pent up emotions that like they want to come out, but it also feels like I can't get them out. I guess, if that makes any sense. So I don't know what's going on, but it feels like my nervous system is still trying to figure out what's going on. And I know it's difficult for a lot of my family and friends, because we're all hoping that, you know, this procedure has a good result for me and for chronic fatigue patients in general. But from what I understand, the stellate ganglion block, the process of disrupting a deregulated nervous system, is not something that just fixes itself overnight. The procedure breaks up the pattern, and then the nervous system tries to rewire itself after that. And so, from what I understand, too, it's also very important for the patient to work on relaxation as much as possible in their own time. So, for myself, I've been trying to do a little bit more deep breathing. I've been doing some humming. It's supposed to calm the nervous system. And I also have an acupressure mat. It's like a bunch of spikes that you lay on. I've been using that most nights to try and relax and just calm the nervous system. But all that said, this is a process, and so I want to give it time. I want to allow my body to be able to do what it needs to do. I'm still optimistic that this procedure is going to do something to help me. It's just a matter of how much it'll help me, and then there's always the question of, will I need future injections, and then will those future injections help me further? Excuse me, will those future injections help me further, or is it just kind of a one-time Band-Aid for me? The doctor did not describe it that way. He said it's a tool in my toolbox to be able to use in the future. It's just a very expensive procedure, and so long term we'll kind of see how many times I'm able to do this. So I know for anyone watching, this may not be exactly what you wanted to hear after 1 month. I know that you might be hoping for some more drastic results, but I think this is going to be an ongoing process. So even in my first video about the block, I had said I was going to make at least probably 2 or 3 of these videos. I can guarantee you at this point I will make at least a third one, maybe even a fourth. Just because I think that this is going to take time, and I want to be able to document it at each stage. But if you yourself are considering a stellate ganglion block, I hope that this video is still helpful to you in some way and gives you some idea of what you might be able to expect afterwards. So stay tuned. I will likely do a 2-month recap, so I'll post another video a month from now that'll give you the 2-month recap on how I'm doing. So thank you guys so much for your time. God bless. We will see you in the next one. Adios.